Are you tired of being ill all the time? Are you fighting an illness? Have you been told you cannot be helped? Do you believe you have an incurable illness? Well, don't give up. You can find anything out if you look hard enough. There are many people who have cured themselves and others of illness, so why can't you? In this video, I'm going to show you a whole other side to health that not many people know about, but the select few that do never get sick. Let me start with a disclaimer. I am not a qualified healthcare professional, and the information provided is for general information purposes only. In this video, I am paraphrasing others and reiterating knowledge I have gained. I've done many hours of research of my own, over 3 years of learning health and nutrition and alternative medicine. I've self-educated in real health, not what you're taught in school, college or university. I know many people will disagree with what I'm about to say in this video, but if you're ill all the time, or you've got an illness and you've been told you cannot be helped, would you not try something anyway, no matter your beliefs? I haven't seen any of what I've learned firsthand, but personally, if I was to get ill, I fully believe and have confidence in myself that I would be able to heal myself. Lastly, I also understand why people would not entertain this idea because of how information is kept from you and you believe what you're told and think doctors have authority, but at the end of the day, your health is your decision, not anyone else's. So here's a chance to learn. I've gained my knowledge through research and logic put together, and then from the book, Never Be Sick Again, which I'm going to be talking about in this video, and then through some other people like Brian Johnson on YouTube, Dr. Sebi, that people may know about, but you can research him. There's a controversy around him. And through social media, one channel called Embodiment Celestial and another called Lewis Grant Smith or The Healthy Hub on TikTok. So believe what you want to believe, do your own research, and then defend your beliefs. But be open-minded because you can never know everything and there's always something to learn. So I'm going to talk about the main points from the book, Never Be Sick Again, by Raymond Francis. It's in the light, sorry. By Raymond Francis. And when I talk in the first person, it's not me that's like worked it out, if you know what I mean. It's Raymond Francis's words that have got from the book. So I'm gonna be cutting a lot down so that it's not a very, very long video, because as you can see, it's a massive book and it's got like lots and lots of tags. So I'm gonna make several videos on this. But cut a long story short, the guy that wrote this book was very sick and he couldn't even leave his bed. He was that sick. He was too weak to even lift his head off his pillow at only age 48. He had lost 40 pounds off of an already thin frame and his doctors expected him to die. But he said, "I chose to live. I say chose because on my own, relying on my own knowledge of biochemistry and my determination not to die, I saved my own life. Almost all diseases can be prevented or reversed. As a result, health is a choice and no one has to be sick." He went to many professionals in different fields and no one could help him. In fact, he took prescribed medication that was meant to help him and came out much worse. So I'm not going to talk about everything that happened to him because it's not that relevant. However, he had some sort of liver failure and took medication that was toxic to the liver, so it sent him down an even bigger spiral into illness. What Raymond Francis worked out. The first principle in the book is there is only one disease, 2 causes and 6 pathways. One disease. In reality, humans experience only one disease. All disease is a result of malfunctioning cells. No matter if the disease is a common cold, a mental illness such as depression, or a life-threatening cancer. The 2 causes of disease. The 2 reasons cells malfunction are number 1, deficiency, so insufficient nutrients, and number 2, toxicity, excessive toxins. 6 pathways. These 2 causes work through 6 areas of daily life. The 6 pathways, each person travels towards health or disease. So if you're not travelling towards health, you're travelling towards disease. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're travelling towards disease. If you take care of your body's needs along these 6 pathways, you give your cells what they need and you avoid what is toxic to them, you will not become sick. The theory presented in this book, A Unifying Theory of Disease, is the most important health discovery in the last 100 years. Few hundred years, really. No such theory existed during the evolution of what we call now the modern medicine, which explains why the medical establishment cannot cure nor prevent disease as effectively as it might. We are willing to ingest chemicals in the form of prescription drugs that are alien to the body, but we are sceptical that natural substances, primarily the right foods, can heal. Why are we willing to recognise the damage of an obvious poisoning, so like a major chemical spill, for instance, but we ignore the devastating effects of small amounts of toxic substances which accumulate in our bodies and make us a little bit sicker every single day? My theory of wellness takes you to the front line of the battle between health and disease, the cell. Your body is made up of trillions of cells, and cells have needs which he identifies in the book, what must be met if they are to function well. If your cells are healthy, your body will not become sick. If your cells do not receive what they need, or if they are damaged or poisoned, they will stop working right and you will become sick. You may be surprised to discover what is toxic to your cells. Cells that receive what they need and avoid harm can function well and provide for healthy life, regardless of your age, the genes you have inherited, or the germs to which you have been exposed. Healthy cells refuse disease. No one with healthy cells has any reason to become sick, not even to contract a cold. People alive today are far sicker than most of us recognise, and they die decades sooner than their genetic potential. Healthy life, well past 100 years old, should be our birthright. We do not usually think about health in this way. We don't knowingly choose disease, but we do choose diets and lifestyles that lead to disease. Unable to predict, prevent, or conquer disease, most people and most physicians pursue treatment, such as prescription or over-the-counter drugs, once obvious symptoms have presented, after massive cellular malfunction has already occurred. Patients and their physicians treat body parts or body systems as unrelated. The mainstream medical community has no unifying theory of disease, no unifying treatment, and no plan for prevention, and therefore true and lasting health is an illusion. So you'll see me looking down a lot, and that's because I've got loads of information. As I've already said, there's like 270 pages, 370 pages in the book, so I cannot remember every single bit of information, so I've got prompts to read and then know what I need to say. So your body is made up of cells. When a large number of cells malfunction, the body system becomes disrupted, and that leads to disease. The one disease, which is cellular malfunction. Cellular malfunction, like I said, has two causes: deficiency and toxicity. Cells not getting what they need, and then the toxicity of cells being poisoned by something they don't need. Finally, the 6 pathways exist between health and disease, through which the health of our cells can change for better or worse. We can become healthy or sick, i.e. deficient and/or toxic, through the following pathways. Pathway 1, nutrition. You are what you eat. That's very, very true. You've heard it everywhere, but no one actually understands it. Learn how to select and prepare the types of foods that will enable your cells to function at their best. So there's many parts of the book, again, that I'm not going to cover, but something I'm not going to cover but that's come to my mind is that people eat just to fill themselves. That is not the point of food. The point of food is to get the nutrients your body needs. There's certain nutrients your eyes need, there's certain nutrients your blood needs for circulation, there's certain nutrients your organs need, there's everything. That's where Brian Johnson comes in. If you search him on YouTube, he has a diet where he's fully optimizing his whole body, given every nutrient his organs need. He takes 150 supplements. So there's your answer there. And again, you can research anything you want that you're interested in, but I don't have time to read the whole entire book to you. If you want the book, buy it. Again, it's called Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. Very good book. It's the only book I've read and thought every single person needs to read this book, and everyone needs to teach it to their family, to their kids. Pathway 2, toxin. So the two we've mentioned, nutrition, toxin. Toxin is a substance that interferes with normal cellular function because it's foreign to the body, thereby causing malfunction, which is disease. Malfunctioning cells is disease. Learn where toxins are found and how you can avoid them. Pathway 3, psychological. So people think psychological and subconscious isn't that important, but it actually could be possibly one of the most important things, because the body and the mind are inseparably connected. They are one and the same thing. The way we react to life events and respond to our thoughts and emotions directly affect our health. So I don't know if I mentioned it in this, but stress can cause illness. And on the whole psychological thing, I think I've told the story before in a separate video, but there was a story of this electrician that went into a freezer, and no one knew of like what the issue with the freezer actually was. Anyway, he got locked in the freezer and couldn't open the door. And after hours, people went in and they got the freezer open, and he died. And when it came to, the freezer wasn't even working, like it wasn't on, but he was counting down, like on the wall, like tallying how long he'd got left, and he pretty much killed himself with his brain because he thought he was freezing to death, so he froze to death when the freezer wasn't on and it wasn't cold. So the psychological side is very important. Physical side, very important because of how life is changing. Many years ago, you'd have to go get your own food, build your own things, many things. You'd have to exercise. And not only that, it was hard to get really fat because there wasn't the kind of foods that are here today to be able to get that fat. So our cells and bodies need physical maintenance like an automobile. Do you have enough exercise, rest, sunlight and fresh air? Pathway 5, genetic. Genes affect our cells, but not nearly as much as modern medicine would have us believe. Learn how to optimize your genetic potential and avoid genetic damage. So with genes, it's not that because something runs in the family, you're going to get it no matter what. It's more that if you have this certain genetic type and you don't keep your cells at 100% like health, you will get ill. Pathway 6, medical. Modern medicine kills and injures millions of people every year. Learn how medicine affects your health and make educated decisions about which treatments you need and which you do not. So I saw a photo probably like a year ago now that was like something like this is not medicine, this is, and like one photo was like all drugs and how they're just chemicals put together and synthetic medicine. Did I say drugs? Anyway. And the other was like the mountains, like fresh air and like fruit and veg, which again, would you not think that things of the earth, plants of the earth, are here for a reason? If not, there'd just be like one plant and you just eat the same thing. There's a reason, and that's because walnuts, good for your brain, grapes, good for your lungs. Anyway, there's loads. Can't remember them all off the top of my head. Carrots, they are actually good for your eyes, carotene. There's a reason for every fruit and veg, apart from the ones that are like made in a lab, like some things are now. You need to be able to make educated decisions about which treatment you need and which you do not. So and I don't know if I've mentioned this in here as well, but I'll mention it now so I don't miss it. Hospitals and medical things are great for a few reasons. Like, you can't knock all of it, but for finding out illnesses so you can then know how to attack the problem, or for injuries, great for injuries. Like if you break your leg, like years ago, you'd just die because you can't live life with a broken leg when you need to go and hunt or whatever. So that is how hospitals are good. Health is not luck. Most people expect to be sick at least once or twice a year, and they also expect that they'll end up having some sort of serious illness by midlife, and in all likelihood they would die with one or several diseases by 80, if not sooner. Most people also think poor health is mainly the result of bad luck, and not that longevity is a matter of good fortune. Nothing could be further from the truth. Poor health is not a matter of luck. Poor health is a matter of choice. Bad choices equals bad health. We make ourselves sick by making bad choices, and conversely, we get healthy and stay healthy by making good ones. Most people feel that they are healthy as long as they have no symptoms of disease. Few people realise that what optimal health really feels like, and even fewer accept that a vigorous and healthy life beyond 100 years old is within reach. In reality, that kind of long life is what we should all routinely expect. So again, something I'm going to quickly pick out, that I'm not going to mention this anymore, but it's in the book. People think they're healthy, but if at any point in the whole entire year if you have asthma, you're not healthy. If you have diabetes, you're not healthy. If you have allergies, you're not healthy, because it wouldn't be possible to get ill at all if your cells were at 100%. Not only that, our genetic potential is 140 years old. It is very possible to live over 100, and many people do. Like in the book Ikigai, that I made my last video on, that was about Ikigai. And it's about a village in Okinawa that live over 100 and have a high life expectancy. So here is now a story of a very old person. Meet the face of optimal health. His name is Jose Maria Roa, and he is 131 years old. Jose, I'm just going to say Jose, lives with his family in a small village high in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador. While his face is weather-worn, his mind is clean, his heart is healthy, his teeth are strong, and the lines around his face are born of smiles and the joy of a loving wife and family. Still working on his small farm every day and enjoying an active sex life, Jose fathered his last child at the age of 107. So in the Western world, people end up not being able to have kids at 70, 60, 50, 40. And that is a direct cause of health. If your health is not 100%, then your sexual organs and that aren't 100%. And that's why even people that can't have kids at 20s and 30s, sadly, it is just a health thing or a stress thing. Sometimes it can specifically be stress only on why people can't get pregnant, for example, or just make a kid. When asked if he had ever been sick, he replied, "Yes, I have." Jose had a few colds, that's it, in 131 years. Until his death at 137, Jose remained in perfect health. Surely this is not normal. Isn't Jose a medical miracle? An aberration of nature? Not so. In his remote village, Jose's health and longevity are far from unusual, explains Morton Walker, whose 1985 book Secrets of Long Life is based on his study of these hardy people native to the Vilcabamba Valley. For instance, in his queries to the Vilcabambans about the mental health of their society, Walker asked if the older people suffered memory loss due to dementia. These long-lived people had never experienced anything like dementia. They didn't understand the question and, in fact, did not even have words in their language to describe such a condition. Meanwhile, we are told that dementia is a disease of aging and the price we must pay for our so-called longevity. As I studied Jose and people like him, I began to understand the potential that all humans have to be healthy. Again, something I'm not going to go into this video. There's many causes of dementia, and one is actually our tap water. Not directly said, but again, it's a theory, but most theories are true. A fair amount of the time, they're only a theory because it won't get scientifically proven for a reason. Diseases that are curable. In America today, we are usually told and believe that illnesses like cancer, arthritis, dementia, osteoporosis, diabetes, and heart disease are diseases of aging. But these chronic conditions are not an inevitable result of growing older. Rather, They are the inevitable result of living lifestyles that cannot support human health. In America today, these conditions are epidemic. Having achieved enormous advances in science and medicine, why are we experiencing the largest epidemic in chronic disease in human history? As I studied patterns of health and disease, I made a profound discovery. I learned that disease does not just randomly happen, it occurs for specific reasons. We're not typically perfectly healthy until we get sick, nor does perfect health return once disease has run its course. Although we tend to perceive life this way, the distinctions between health and disease are far less black and white. Remember, your cells. Only after massive numbers of cells malfunction or die do you begin to notice symptoms of disease. In other words, you are already sick before you get sick. People who are truly healthy do not get sick. If you stop to consider what it might be like to live in good health to a ripe old age, everything begins to seem different. This potential for health can be described as optimal health, where your cells are functioning as well as they possibly can. This level of health is almost guaranteed to keep disease at bay. Optimal health, Brian Johnson. Research him. I've watched all his videos. He's doing great things. It's actually something I'd have loved to do if he wouldn't have already done it. But work out how to optimally live, how to have your health absolutely perfect, where every organ is at 100%. Everything's as good as it can be. Now for how fruit and veg can be toxic. Fruit and vegetables, plants, are now grown with artificial fertilizers that produce more food per acre. So it's all about making money and getting as much food as possible. Food are not nearly as rich in nutritional content as they used to be many years ago. And I imagine you've seen photos possibly of what fruit used to look like and what it looks like now. It's way bigger with less nutrients, whereas before it used to be way smaller with way more nutrients. Use of artificial fertilizer has led to depletion in minerals in the soil because they do not add minerals to replace those being lost with each new crop. Soil depletion leads to nutritional deficiency in all of us. Since many foods are not eaten fresh off of the plant, many must be harvested before they are ripe in order to prevent spoilage during transportation and distribution. This premature harvesting does not allow the food to reach its full nutritional maturity, thereby contributing to nutritional deficiency. Now some bullet points. The nutritional content of the food then further deteriorates as the food ages during storage, transportation and distribution. Food is often processed further, depleting its nutritional content in order to make it easier to store and consume. Among these foods are flour, pasta, bread, sugar, and canned and packaged foods. Cooked foods are also nutritionally inferior to raw ones, and most of the American diet consists of both processed and cooked foods. Toxic assault. Bullet points again. The farming of large single crops have created new and serious problems of insect infestations, necessitating the use of insecticides. These insecticides, along with the use of herbicides and fungicides, have made food production methods a significant contributor to our toxic environment and food supply. The modern processed food industry adds man-made preservatives, flavours, colours, and other and other toxic chemicals to our foods. No one knows what the combination of all these chemicals is doing to our bodies. And it also says in the book, again I'm not going to talk about a lot, that although some a preservative has been deemed fairly safe, although it's toxic anyway, that does not take into account when a preservative and a colour, or a preservative, a colour and a flavour are all mixed together. They can then work together to become very toxic. Energy demands first for coal and now for gas and oil, so that then is constantly polluting our environment, so our air. And again, Brian Johnson, he has really good filters in his house all the time, which means he never gets that outside air, which is, it's not really, really, really bad, but it's just not great. It's not like healthy as it should be, like full of oxygen. It's full of chemicals. Virtually all of our industrial processes, from printing our daily newspaper to painting our homes and building cars and computers, have led to the introduction of tens of thousands of man-made chemicals into our environment, all of which put toxic loads into our bodies. Over the past century or so, dramatic changes in diet and environment have created a society of nutritionally deficient and chemically toxic Americans. Virtually all of the foods we can buy in a modern supermarket is nutritionally inferior to the foods our ancestors consumed. The purity of the air and water our ancestors enjoyed no longer exists. But all is not lost. Sources do exist today where we can find quality foods with high nutritional content. We can lower our daily toxic exposure, but first we need to learn where to look and how to take charge. What I found helpful was to study those people who have already shown us the way. Small populations of people in remote areas away from this world of technology and fast food and GMO and preservative food, have shown us how simply meeting the body's needs along each of the 6 pathways can result in tremendous energy, stamina, and lack of disease until age 120, 130, or even older. I will tell you more about these remarkable people, and I will also tell you how the intrusions of modern civilization into those populations since the 1970s has robbed them of their stunning health and longevity. So I will not talk about that, but it talks about in the book. It talks about the Hunzans, and they're from a remote village in the mountains near Pakistan, and they never got ill. There were no such thing as cold. They didn't have menopause really, and they'd have 90-year-olds climbing mountains that looked like they were 20, could do that more exercise of the Western 20-year-old, and they was really healthy, lived really optimal lives. And then there was one road into this little village that wasn't accessible, you couldn't get through it. And when it did become accessible, in whatever year it were, the age and health just declined because all these foods that came into their world that was toxic and not good for them, cars came in, preservatives, fast food restaurants, all that came in to where they lived, and it completely destroyed their health and longevity. Foods to eat. Low-fat products and typical supermarket meat and produce can build a healthy diet. Consider. Too much of our diet is created from an officially approved Big Four list of foods that fail to nurture our bodies and also create toxins that sicken us. The Big Four: sugar, white flour, processed oils and milk products. That was the last one. Even food said to be healthy, such as multigrain breads, usually contain impoverished flour. We eat the cells of unhealthy plants and animals which cannot create healthy cells in our body. Pigs and other livestock are fed toxic diets. Chemicals used during growing, harvesting, processing, transporting, and storing diminish nutrients in produce. Same thing though. In no way can such food support our cell chemistry. Too little of our food, virtually none for many people, is eaten raw. Cooking damages foods, nutritional values. Some cooking methods, particularly those that use high heat or that char foods, create powerful mutagens and carcinogens. Handling and preparation methods. From extended storing of foods in a refrigerator or freezer to chopping and mashing, rob foods of many nutrients such as vitamins and minerals that we believe we are consuming. The average person preparing a meal damages and destroys the power of the food, even food the individual considers to be fresh. Commercial practices used to supply food from farms to supermarkets are overwhelmingly destructive. Produce is often harvested before it is ripe, stored for long periods of time, and subjected to harmful methods to ripen or colour it artificially for presentation in the fresh produce section of the supermarket. Some of this produce has lost nearly all of certain vitamins and minerals by the time it rolls down the supermarket checkout lines, let alone by the time we eat it. So there was actually a story in the book, which again is long, I'm not going to talk about it, I don't want the video to be like 2 hours long, but it's a scientist or some science teacher that wanted to look at like orange nutrients, and he tested the nutrients, and there was actually like barely any vitamin C, I think it was, he was looking for in it. And so he traced it back, and found that where the oranges came from had been picked before ripe and then artificially coloured to look orange instead of green. So that's on the whole, like how they're picked before they're ripe. The way we eat our foods, or even chew our foods, prevent us from getting the best nutrition. Even from like good diets, you can still not like get the right nutrition from how you prepare your food or eat it. We also eat the wrong combinations of foods, which is a big one, which again is in the book, can't talk about it now, which interfere with effective digestion. However, I will make a video on that in the future, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss like updated health videos. I'm going to have more coming. And with that, that's why then packaged things like dried fruits, pineapple that's already cut up, there's no point eating it because it's been cut like weeks, maybe months ago, I don't even know, like ages ago before you actually eat it. And as soon as it's cut up and oxygen can get to it, it loses its nutrients and half the juice comes out of it anyway when it's cut. Not only that, if you ever did, well, in science, I don't know if you did it, but I did it, when you like cut something up and you cut it in certain ways that it's absorbed, like can take oxygen from like lots of different faces of it. That's how it works when things are cut up and you eat it way later on. It just has oxygen to get to it from every side, which gets the nutrients. Most of the vitamin and mineral supplements sold today are of poor quality or synthetic, and they're not even worth paying for. They do not provide us with the nutrients we think we are buying. So I've noticed this. I've gone to health food stores, looked at nutrients and thought, that's a load of shite, that's a load of shite. There wasn't a single supplement like box thing that was actually worth getting, not one. So you really need to learn, which again is in the book, how and what to get if you're buying supplements. I don't take supplements. Maybe I should, I don't know. But I don't. Not only that, I'm going to make a video in the future as well, possibly, maybe, about like how vegans don't get along, because if you're vegan, you can't get B12, and then people take B12 as a supplement, which is synthetic, which is like something cobalamin, which is like really, really bad for you. Now, this is probably one of the most important things I'll say in this video. Probably one of the easiest, but also the hardest. It's quite a weird one. Foods to avoid. With such misinformation, we tend to make irrational and harmful decisions. A diet that focuses on anything other than meeting the nutritional needs of cells allows your body to get sick. The 4 worst food choices you can possibly make, which like compromise of the bulk of the average like person's diet, are disastrous to the health of our population. These things are: 1. Sugar. Synthetic sugar, whereas cane sugar, organic cane sugar, nothing wrong with. White flour. So white flour is in many things: pasta, bread, pastries, all that. Processed oils, so alternatives to that, coconut oil. Number 4, milk products and anything derived of that, so yogurt and cheese. I think that's all I know of. Consuming these foods, especially as a large part of your diet, over time is virtually guaranteed to cause disease. They provide little nutrition and are toxic as well. So people think they are nutritious, which they kind of are, in a weird way, again, milk products I'm talking about here. But I've talked about this in another video as well, that they're nutritious, but because like it's for calves, like it's from milk, humans cannot digest it properly. So like something that's 10 grams of protein, for example, is more like only 2 grams to us that we can digest. If every American were to stop eating these foods, our epidemic of chronic disease would decline dramatically. Problematic in their own right, the real harm caused by these 4 food failures comes from the fact that we eat them repeatedly, day by day, meal by meal. It's not like how toxins, sometimes if you just have it once a year, it's not going to be an issue to you. Caution, this water is hazardous to your health. In addition to food, water, which is an essential ingredient to our life and for good health, is toxic. Adequate water intake helps rid your body of toxins, both through the kidneys and through sweat. Shockingly, however, in a highly developed nation such as the United States, almost all of our water is toxic. It adds poison to your body and is unfit to drink. Toxins from landfill runoffs, sewage pollutants, industrial chemicals such as PCBs and vinyl chloride, agricultural runoffs, particularly pesticides, leakage from gasoline storage tanks and other pollutants contaminate our water. Some researchers believe chronic low-level exposure to these chemicals contributes to our cancer epidemic. Even those of us lucky enough to live near high-quality water source would probably be disappointed to learn that local water suppliers takes perfectly good water and contaminates it with toxins such as chlorine, fluoride, arsenic and aluminium. Water then travels through municipal and household pipelines which can add contaminants such as lead, cadmium, copper, asbestos, iron and nickel. All these toxins exist in minute amounts. We drink water or beverages made with water daily, so we're exposed chronically. This exposure leads to toxic bioaccumulation, cellular malfunction and disease. Minimise tap water consumption. Drink high quality distilled or spring water, preferably in glass containers to avoid toxins from plastic. Purchase from companies willing to provide you with chemical analysis to their water. Another alternative is to drink tap water purified by a filter that uses reverse osmosis. So I've looked at that, but it costs like $4,000 to get a water osmosis thing. I haven't researched and I can't find how my water actually is or what it has. But I should probably do like a test where you like put a little, test things again using science, things to check the alkalinity. I should probably buy them to put in my water and see how good or bad it is. Remember that commercial fruit juice and other beverage products are usually made with tap water. Pure water is what your body needs. When you can get it, choose it. So there's some like fresh streams that's come out of the earth that you can obviously drink from in like other countries. Not here in England, but like in other countries I've seen. You can just fill your water up and that's like pure like spring water. And that's really good for you. Also, the actual water we need is like fructose, which is like, like the water in like a cucumber or a watermelon. Like that's like juice but water, and that's what like our body actually needs. We're not meant to drink tap water how we do drink it. If you want to be healthy, like this video, and it'll also help others find this video so that everyone can be healthy. I'm going to make more videos on other parts of this book in the future, so videos like products that are toxic and can make you ill, like how there was a man that fell ill as a result of tuna and apple juice, and a woman that stopped having dairy products when she was bedridden at 90 and made a miraculous recovery. And then what you should use, like deodorants and shampoos and all the other products. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of these future videos. If you don't subscribe and then you fall ill, it is very likely you will never find me again. And you don't want to be in that situation, do you? So you've watched this video this far, so you obviously want to live a long and healthy life. So luckily for you, my last video was on how to live a long and happy life, where I share knowledge from 100+ year olds who have lived a long, happy and healthy life free from illness. So watch that on screen now.